At the beginning of the story, we learn that before the end of the world, Jake was considered the world's greatest treasure hunter. He always found something ancient or lost for years. He loved searching for treasure underwater, and he always acted on his own terms, refusing to be dictated to by anyone else. Then one day, a devastating solar flare destroyed the world's technology. All electrical equipment was destroyed in a single stroke. This resulted in the loss of millions of jobs. Panic gripped the entire world. Governments in even the largest countries collapsed, and wealthy individuals began to rule in various places because they had the guns and the people to operate them. Gradually, people in major cities began to starve. Except for a few precious items, money was practically useless. Various diseases spread, hospitals closed, and even medicine-making machines broke down. 6 years after this incident, we find Jake in England. He was still working as a treasure hunter. He calmed down a bit and went to an old neighborhood. He looked around for a while. Then he entered a hotel and climbed the stairs to the penthouse. There was a large bookshelf which he carefully examined, and behind it he found a hidden room. Jake quickly planted small bombs and blew out the steel door. He plugged in his batteries to provide light. There was a safe inside that needed a keypad and a password. Jake looked at the fingerprints on the key and wrote down all the letters in his notebook to guess the correct password. Opening the safe, he found old music records. He played the record that had the password. As soon as the music started playing, another hidden safe opened. Jake took out an expensive gold coin. Just then, some thugs in police uniforms burst in and demanded the gold coin. Jake refused, threatening, "If you take a step forward, not one of you will leave here alive." But the thugs still attacked him. Jake immediately opened fire, killing them one by one. When his gun ran out of bullets, he used his fists and continued to beat the thugs relentlessly. When he ran out of bullets, he threw a blade at a fleeing man in the back. The leader caught the blade and thought, "I'm so cool." Then Jake waved his middle finger at him, saying goodbye, and immediately a bomb exploded from the blade, killing the thug leader. A little while later, Jake went to a large mansion, now a factory, with many guards. He gave the vials to a warlord's assistant. He said, "King August wants to give you another task." Jake found it strange that this warlord was calling himself king. He refused, because for this task he would have to travel across the ocean to another country where no one knew what was happening there. When August heard that Jake had refused, he asked his assistant to make him an offer he couldn't refuse. Jake then returned home. He had a broken boat at his house. He had set up various traps around his house to prevent anyone from sneaking in. He also fed his dog. Then he checked his payment, which contained some food, some items, and a record. He played the record and fell asleep, eating and drinking. That night, he dreamed of traveling around the world in a new boat. In the morning, he woke up to a voice. He went outside and saw a soldier trapped in his trap. The soldier said, "The king wants to meet you." Jake didn't let him go and went straight to meet the king. August was waiting for him in a warehouse with his soldiers. He said, "You're not the first. I've tried many people to do the job, but no one has the skill to find things like you." He also said he was trying to create a new system to bring things back to normal, but Jake still wasn't particularly interested in his work. Then August explained that if he completed the task, he would receive a new boat. "Is that what you want?" The mission was to deliver the Mona Lisa painting to him. It was kept in a basement in an unknown location. When Paris was attacked, the government hid its entire treasure there. August said he was ready to provide Jake with all the support, food, and everything he needed. He just had to complete the mission at any cost. Tempted by the boat, Jake agreed. He handed his dog to August's assistant and said, "Please take care of it if I don't return." Jake was calm at first, but as soon as they reached the airport, he became very worried because their plane was already riddled with bullet holes. August showed Jake a map and explained the entire route, explaining where the enemy was present and where there was peace. Auguste also informed him that one of his men would meet you in the center of Paris. Just get there. He will guide you further. Once you find the Mona Lisa, I will arrange for you to be evacuated within 3 hours. I'll do it. That evening, Jake boarded the plane. The pilot, who was quite young, said everything was fine, not to worry. But Jake could tell there was something wrong with the plane. It wasn't flying properly. After a while, the pilot said, "Look, we're leaking some fuel, so we'll have to parachute on the way." Poor Jake was distraught. He said, "I've never parachuted before. How do you fly it?" But the pilot was busy, and he couldn't help much. After a while, Jake fell asleep and had a dream. He was in a boat again, this time with a girl. Suddenly, the plane started shaking violently, and Jake woke up. They were under attack. The pilot tried to save the plane, but he said, "We'll have to jump a little earlier than planned." Finding a suitable spot, Jake quickly jumped and deployed his parachute. When he landed, it wasn't a very good landing. He started moving forward, but the surrounding area was on fire. He saw that some people who were fighting against the local warlord had been killed and hanged to intimidate everyone else. Just then, a tank came barreling down the building. It was about to take aim at it, but before it could, a missile blew it up. Some rebels came and blew open the tank's hood and threw a grenade inside, killing the soldiers inside. But they said nothing to Jake and quietly left. Inside the city, Volkov's men were terrorizing the civilians. Volkov was a very dangerous and vicious man. He loved playing chess because it helped him learn different tactics. Anyone who became a hindrance to Volkov would first play chess with him. The man his soldiers had captured today wasn't playing well, so Volkov shot him dead. His special right-hand man named Gornez reported that a man had jumped from a plane. Volkov immediately ordered his men to find him as quickly as possible. In the morning, Jake arrived in another part of town. The people there lived in poverty and were very afraid of Volk. Jake took some old clothes from the back of his car and hid his good clothes there. Nearby, the police were gathering everyone and explaining the rules. They warned that breaking the curfew would result in severe punishment. Then, to maintain fear, they killed 2 of their opponents in front of everyone. As Jake tried to leave, the police surrounded him and told him to drop his bag. Jake cleverly threw the bag at one man's face, and a fight quickly ensued. He trapped one policeman's hand in the car door and then smashed another's head against the side view mirror. One policeman attacked with a knife, but Jake grabbed his hand and stabbed him with the same knife. Within seconds, everyone was down, and Jake was ready to leave. Another policeman came out of hiding and prepared to shoot Jake, but before he could fire, a girl named Drea slit his throat. She works for August and will now be helping Jake. She said, "I've been watching you since you landed, but I wanted to see if you could handle yourself. If it had been someone more incompetent, I would have let them die, because things are going to get very dangerous." Jake and Rhea quickly sneaked through the city, blending in with the crowds and hiding, but a general still spotted them. Jake and Drea entered a church, where they met Father Samson. He had an important map hidden by some recently killed rebels. Samson took them to his garage and showed them the truck he was working on. He showed their next destination on the map and wrote a secret code in the corner. While Samson was preparing the truck, Drea treated Jake's wounds. Just then, the general and his soldiers surrounded the church and told everyone to come out. Jake and Drea ran to the truck, while Samson went outside to distract the general. Samson claimed he was all alone, but the soldiers ignored him. Some went inside the church to search for him. Outside, Samson drew his gun and shot the general in the hand. Immediately, the other soldiers gunned him down. The soldiers inside also reached the garage and were distracted by Jake sitting inside the truck. Then, suddenly, Andrea attacked them from behind, killing them, some with her gun, some with her knife. The soldiers outside were still firing at Samson, so they didn't hear the gunfire inside. But as soon as Jake started the truck, the radio blared, and they heard the sound. At a signal, tanks shelled the church. But Jake and Andrea were quick to break through the garage door and escape with the truck. The soldiers fired smoke bombs, but the bullets had no effect on the truck. Jake then drove the truck up a ramp and jumped over the tank, and they escaped. Some Volkov soldiers still pursued them on bikes. They soon reached a checkpoint, where the guards also opened fire. But Jake had already realized that their truck was bulletproof. He jumped over the roadblock without stopping. Another car arrived on the next road carrying more soldiers, so Jake had to duck inside a building. The tank fired a shell at them from a distance, but it missed its target. It hit another vehicle which exploded and fell onto the road, knocking several goats off their feet. Jake took a sharp turn and dodged the blast. Drea told them to quickly enter the tunnel, and they both quickly escaped. 2 goats were still chasing them inside the tunnel. As they emerged, another tank appeared in front of them. The tank launched a fierce attack, but Jake managed to pull away just in time. The chase began again, and the soldiers began to surround them from all sides. Suddenly, Drea threw a grenade, knocking out the bikers, but a vehicle was still behind them. The tank fired again, but Jake jumped the truck, and the bullets hit their enemies. As they entered a new part of the facility, another vehicle arrived with soldiers. The tank was ready to fire again. But Jake, with a swift move, suddenly cut through, wounding their enemies again. Now Jake and Drea had finally escaped. For the night, they stopped for a rest. Jake asked, "Why do so many people want to kill us just because of a painting?" "I agree, it's famous, but what's the big deal?" Drea replied, "The painting is just a pretext. In reality, we need to find the safe before Volk. Inside it, there are many weapons that the enemy can use." She also said, "I know about your dream," and she made a small paper boat for Jake as a good luck charm. The next day, Volkov set out on his train to find the safe. The general arrived and told him that there was a man and a woman who had defeated his entire team. But Volkov, enraged by his failure, shot him dead. Meanwhile, Jake and Drea arrived at an old building where there was a safe. Drea was frightened by something, as this area was occupied by wraiths. The wraiths were actually prisoners who had been imprisoned for a long time. When they couldn't find food, they began eating humans, and now they eat anyone they catch. Just then, a fire attack occurred nearby, indicating someone was after them. They both ran inside and saw blood on the wall. The safe was open and empty. The smell of gunpowder coming from the corner of the door made Jake understand that it had recently been blown up. There was nothing inside, meaning everything had been moved to a safe place. Outside, the wraiths were rapidly approaching them. Rhea and Jake went up to the second floor of the building. Bullet shells littered the building. Jake calculated that the people there had fought to the end. In the main office, he found an old cabinet behind a false wall, hidden inside a notebook. The writing was in French, a language Jake didn't understand. Drea translated the notes into English for him and wrote down the coordinates of the map. But Jake was a little suspicious of the coordinates. He said they were protecting the treasure. They wouldn't reveal the real location just like that. He then used the map to try to locate the real location. Just then, the rats entered the building. Drea wanted to escape as quickly as possible, but Jake said they couldn't leave before doing so. Soon he deciphered the correct location. It was center half. Drea explained that it was a famous fort and showed Jake the location on the map. Meanwhile, the rats were all quickly climbing the stairs. But just then, Jake and Drea escaped through the window. Jake had left a grenade on the door handle of that room. As soon as the wraiths opened the door, there was a massive explosion, killing everyone inside. Returning to the truck, Drea called the rebels and told them to meet him in center half. A short while later, Volkov arrived on his train. He saw truck tire marks on the road. Following those marks, they reached the place where Jake and Drea had located the fortress. There, Gornies found the same notebook with the coordinates written inside. But Volkov was smart enough to know that all this wouldn't be easily found. He used a UV lamp to check Drea's fingerprints. Because if anyone finds a place on the map, they'll definitely touch it. Now he knew the real location was in center half. One night, he was still alive there, and Volkov shot him as a thank you. Finally, Jake and Drea reached center half. Daya cut the lock on the gate and opened the way inside. Reaching the main building, Jake noticed something strange. There was no security. Some machines were running inside, so Jake figured that perhaps solar panels were powering it. Daya looked at the blueprints of the place and realized the humming sound was from the vault's air filtration system. This meant the vault was still closed. Jake planned to find the source of the air. He would enter through the same tunnel, but there was a huge fan in the middle. Drea said, "I'll find the solar panels so I can turn them off." And Jake started forward. On the top floor, Jake found a rope and tied it to a valve. Then he picked up his backpack and made a safety belt out of it, then tied the safety belt to the rope. He slowly began descending the tunnel. A fan was spinning at high speed below. If he hit it, he would be blown to pieces. He was doing everything very carefully, but the rope slowly began to wear out. Inside, Drea reached the area with the solar panels. She quickly opened fire. Her first shot missed, but with her second, she damaged the entire system. As soon as Jake fell, the rope snapped and the fan suddenly stopped, saving our hero's life. Despite the thud, Jake got up and saw the air duct. It was filled with water. He took a deep breath and swam inside with all his might. He reached the top, but the door was locked. Jake tried his best to break it down. He barely managed to escape. Now Jake was inside the vault. He opened the door from inside so Drea could come in. Inside the vault, he found the Mona Lisa. It wasn't a real painting. It was actually a nuclear bomb with a painting of the Mona Lisa painted on it. Jake was completely shocked, but Drea already knew about it. She said, What difference would it have made if you knew? If it wasn't necessary, you didn't tell me. Drea explained that when the US bombed Japan, they had also saved a bomb for Russia. This was the same bomb, and he didn't want August to use it. He just wanted to keep it away from dangerous people like Volk, because if they got hold of it, they would detonate it. Jake said that no warlord was trustworthy. Not Volk, not August. He also said that there was no point in fighting Volkov. He was too powerful. He would ultimately win. Soon, some rebels arrived to help Drea, but Jake said, "I want nothing to do with you all. I'm leaving. I don't want to be a part of this." With that, he got into a truck and left. A short while later, Volkov's train arrived at Sinzerhof, and his soldiers opened fire. The rebels tried to escape, but the soldiers killed them. Garnich attacked with his missile, blowing up the truck. Volkov had now found the key to the safe and had the bomb placed on the train. Meanwhile, Jake stopped and looked at the small boat Drea had given him. Seeing it, Jake changed his mind. He returned to the fort and saw bodies scattered everywhere. But Drea was still alive. He quickly bandaged Drea's wounds. Drea said, "You were right. All this is futile. Volkov will win in the end." But now Jake had made up his mind. He said, "It's nothing like that. I was just running away from all this. We'll stop Volkov. We'll blow up that bastard's train." The two of them planted bombs in various places. As they got out, there was a massive explosion, blowing up the entire fort. That evening, the train was moving slowly due to fog. Volkov became very angry and shot the conductor, after which the train started moving, cutting through the fog. Meanwhile, Jake drove the truck fast onto the bridge, and as soon as the train, he jumped on the guard as he passed by. He opened a door and threw a grenade inside, killing several guards. While some survived, Jake fought them with his bare hands, then snatched one's gun and killed them all. Hearing the gunfire, Garnich arrived. A fierce fight broke out between the two. Gorniz was also quite strong, and they were neck and neck. Gorniz pushed Jake, causing him to fall near the bomb, but this time, when he tried to attack Jake, Jake punched him, knocking him out. Just then, Volkov appeared from behind and, upon seeing Jake, immediately opened fire. But Jake cleverly maneuvered Gorniz in front of him, causing the bullet to hit Garnish. Jake seized the opportunity and attacked Volkov. A fierce battle ensued. Jake pierced Volkov's hand with a compass and snatched the key from him. Meanwhile, Drea reached the bridge and planted bombs nearby. As the train approached the bridge, Drea blew it up. Jake jumped off the train as well. Volkov tried to stop the train, but it was too late. The train plunged straight into the abyss, causing a massive explosion. Drea cried at the sight. She thought Jake was dead. But he came up behind her and asked, "Why are you crying?" Drea, overjoyed to see him, hugged him. Sometime later, in England, Jake gave August the key to activate the nuclear bomb, saying it was now lying at the bottom of the abyss. Only this key could activate it. August demanded, "Bring it back for me." But Jake flatly refused. He stated, "I don't want any more missions." He then, as promised, took his new boat and left. Ria was with him, and they had fallen in love. They decided to travel the world on this boat. Finally, August placed the key in his safe, where the original Mona Lisa painting was already there. If you enjoy what we do here, please like the video and subscribe to this channel to keep us motivated. See you on the next video.